Good morning. Thanks for joining Jonathan and Julie D in the morning. And good morning, Julie.
Grand Rising, Jonathan. How are you?
Doing great this fine morning. And we've got a special guest here with us this morning, Steve Stern. Good morning, Steve.
Good morning. We're out here in Fort Lauderdale. You're out in Arizona, so we're going to be talking about a lot of good stuff here today.
Yes, sir. So we're going to be covering election integrity today, guys. Steve Stern is a big part of this. And Steve, what all are you guys doing right now at this moment?
So the good news is, and you can see in the background how all this appeared, we do election integrity, but it's connected with precinct strategy. So precinct strategy is the Republican Party. It was started by Dan Schultz. He wrote a book, and you can see this. I tell everybody to get the book. Let's see if we can get that up there. Go to www.precinctstrategy.com. That's how it started. I'm the vice chair of Broward County Republican Party, and I got involved in this about 25 years ago. When I got involved, it took me about 3 months before they actually returned my call. And then it took 3 months to get an application. I got into the Broward Republican Party, and nobody spoke to me for the first time. Nobody spoke to me for the second meeting. So I went up to the chairman and I said, look, I'd like to be the membership chair because nobody seems to be doing anything here. And also I'd like to take over your phones because I called for 3 months and nobody returned. He said, oh, that's great because the person that takes care of the phones wasn't doing a great job. I said, yeah, I can attest to that. And there was 185 messages on there, of which I got 35 new members. So we'll scroll down here till about 5 years ago when I was watching Steve Bannon on a program, and Dan Schultz got on there, started talking about precinct strategy. And after that, he put his number up there. I called him and I said, hey, we have some success stories here in Broward County. I told him what they were. So, well, let me get a hold of Steve Bannon, see if we can get you on the program because he's looking for people that had success stories. So about a week later, I get a text from Cameron saying, hey, can you come on tomorrow? And you got to use a certain channel. And I had to get that. I had no clue what that was. So we got on, and he said, come on about 10:15. And I got on about 10:15. And the funny part about it, I got up about 3:30 in the morning and I was writing notes to myself because I said, geez, I'm getting up from 2 million people or maybe more. I had no clue how many were on there. I better know what I was saying. So 10:15, I'm listening. He said, and when I got on, he said, Steve, we're running a little late today. We got some breaking news. We'll get you on in about 30 minutes. So I'm listening in the background. And every time there's a commercial, I hear Bannon talking in the background. He's yelling at people. He's talking about this and that. And this was now about 11 o'clock. And they tell me, hey, we're still running late. We got a couple other guests we got to put on before you. To make a long story short, about 11:45, they put me on. By that time, I lost about 5 pounds of sweat. And I forgot half of what I was going to say. So I went on for about 10 minutes. And they sent me a clip a couple of days later and said, you did a great job. I listened to the clip. It was pretty much what I was thinking. And they said, we'll probably get you on again. So let's fast forward this to behind here, because this is how election integrity got involved. So we started doing a precinct strategy Zoom, and back there in my right, over my shoulder, you see President Trump, myself, and you see him on the back over here. The one behind there is in Mar-a-Lago, and this was 2 days before the last election in 2022. And I had to get on there because he endorsed precinct strategy. We were able to get him to do that by self. Liz Harrington, Bannon, and Schultz were able to get him to endorse it, which was very important. So I was able to get up there. And the funny part about it, I was supposed to be up there a couple of weeks before, and they canceled. So I figured I'd never get up there. To see President Trump, that's an honor in itself. And I'm going to stop right here because prior to that, a very strange thing happened to me. On my 81st birthday, I came home, and my wife got this envelope, and you can see this envelope, and you can see it's from Mar-a-Lago. We'll put
Wow.
that. See, let me get
Nice.
So I don't know if you can see this, but there's a little rip on the back of the envelope. Now my wife normally doesn't open up the thing, and God must have been there because she ripped the envelope, and for some reason the letter that was in there did not get ripped. And I'd like to read the letter because this is an honor of what happened. And you can see. Let's see if we can get that. Can you get a full screen on by any chance?
Let me see if I
Great.
can enlarge this
Yeah,
for you.
what an honor.
All right.
There we go.
That's fabulous.
So let me read this. It says,
Yes, please.
"Dear Steve, we join your family and friends and wish you a happy 81st birthday. Our nation is strong because of hardworking patriots like you who believe in and defend the American ideals of faith, family, community, and country first. Your commitment to excellence and dedication is exemplifying the American dream through ingenuity, hard work, and principled leadership, and the foundation of your tremendous success and demonstrates the proud spirit of family-owned and operated business. As we celebrate this special day, we hope your heart is filled with joy, knowing you have experienced our country's greatest blessings, freedoms, and the affection of your loved ones. Melania and I send our very best wishes for your continued health, happiness, success. Happy birthday, and may God bless you and your family, Donald Trump." Now, when we saw him back there, and let's leave the screen on, the full screen on there a second, if you don't, John. I think there's a lot of information that's going to come up.
One. Sorry, Julie.
All right. So as we were talking, and we were up there, he gave me about 45 minutes, and we talked about precinct strategy. And then he asked me a question which basically changed my life. He says, "What do you think about the 2024 election?" I said, "Mr. President," I call him Mr. President, I didn't know what to say, but he wasn't president at that time. That was before the election. And I said, "Well, look, I know the election will probably get stolen in 2024 unless we do something." He said, "Well, look, why don't you have in your precinct strategy an election integrity Zoom with that?" I said, "Well, I don't know that much about election integrity, but let me find out and let me see what to do." And actually, I had asked him during this discussion, and as we were discussing, it was 2 days before the last election, so he was calling his pollster. And I said, "Mr. President, I'd like to know if you would endorse a couple of my candidates." So I had nothing to lose to ask him, and he actually did. He endorsed two guys, one in New Hampshire and one in Vermont. And that was unbelievable because, look, I'm just a guy in the street that was working hard. And for him to endorse these candidates 2 days before election is unbelievable. Mm-hmm. So what happened was about 5 weeks later, after calling about 100 people that I knew, we started our election security call where we had about 5 election security people on and about 10 precinct strategy people on. And we continued this on Zoom, getting about 200 to 500 people. But a year and a half ago, I was on Steve Bannon in the morning. He usually puts me on the morning or a day before we have our election security call when he can. And he normally gives me a couple of minutes to talk about it, where it is and who's going to be on there. And at this point, he said to me, "We're going to get you on a little bit longer today. And you put your email on the bottom. Tell everybody how they can get involved in this election integrity deal." So I did that. And I got about 1,000 people signed up, which is unbelievable because we were getting 500-600 people on a time. Now 1,000 people sign up. I got to sit there for 2 hours and give them the link because you need to give them a link to get on. So he says, "We're going to do one thing for you, Steve. You're one of the hardest working guys I know. I am going to put this live on Getter and on the War Room." Well, what happened was the next day, Maureen Bannon called me and said, "Hey, we got 60,000 people watching your election security call." So I got the bright idea, as as an 81-year-old guy, you have to, kind of figure what you're doing. So I started calling my friends and ask them who the podcasters were and who was going it. So about a month ago, before my back operation, we had 7 million people on it. And people say, well, how do you do that? Well, we have 150 podcasters. We have Getter doing it. We have the War Room. We have my channel, Stern American Rumble. We have Cloud Hub, Lindell TV, 150, 160 podcasters, radio, X, wherever we could get this on, we ask people to get it on. And
Great.
that's how we get all these people on. Now, we're going to have one this Wednesday. It's going to be a huge event, and we're going to have some very important people on. And why is this important? Just to have an election security call on and getting all these people on, why is it important? Well, we didn't know how this was going to transpire, but when President Trump won the election, excuse me, a bunch of people texted me, and one of the stars that texted me was Susie Wiles, his chief of staff, and many, many other people. And that was a great honor. And what they said was, what you did, the first thing you did was, during your time and being on all these programs, you went to protect the vote. You asked people to sign up, and we ask them now to get involved too, because the 2026 election is. If you go to protectthevote.com, you could become a poll watcher and poll worker. So we got 40,000 poll watchers and poll workers. I was on probably 100 different programs asking people to sign up, along with Steve Bannon's numerous times, John Fredericks, and many programs on Real America Voice. And that stirred people to do things and get involved. Now,
Good.
why Trump won was because, one of the reasons was because they had over 200,000 poll watchers and poll workers, which were way more important than the 100,000 I had before. So all these things were important. And then bringing all these people on the election security field, many people found out what to do, where to go, who to listen to. So coming up, as we said, this Wednesday, we're going to have Dr. Jerome Corsi on. He's going to be talking about maybe one of the executive orders that President Trump's doing, and I don't want to get ahead of myself, but he's been on a couple of times talking about it, and we're hoping that President Trump does this in January. We're going to have Greg Stenstrom on. He's in Pennsylvania. He's done a lot of lawsuits in Pennsylvania and getting fair elections. And what we do now is we try to have a different state on each time and have 4 or 5 people on from that state. And we're going to have some pretty important people on from the state of Texas, which is what we're doing. And one of the great people that we're going to have is Colonel West. Colonel West is going to come on. He's the head of the Republican Party in Texas. We're going to have Darrell Day on. He's going to be talking about Dallas. He's a former councilman. He's the head of the Dallas Republican Party in Dallas. We're going to have Aubrey Campbell on. She's been on numerous times talking about hand counting. We're going to have Elizabeth Barron on. She's going to be talking about that. Then we're going to have other people on. We're going to have Mike Lindell from Cause of America. He's going to be talking about his visits with President Trump and what he's been saying. We're going to have, each time we have a podcaster on, we're going to have Scott McKay on. Now, one of the most important things that we've done, we brought Tina Peters to light. And this time, Mark Cook is going to come on talking about Tina Peters. And we would like anybody that's listening, and I just got a text from Wayne Root. He texted President Trump asking for him to please use all his executive powers to get Tina out of jail. Her mother, unfortunately, just fell and broke a bunch of bones. She's got, Tina has had cancer. They put her in a lockdown here for a couple of days. She finally got out of that because they know they made a mistake. But we're asking everybody to call Governor Jared Polis and ask her for Christmas to give her a pardon. If you call 303-866-2471 or go to governorpolisstate.co.us. So he has called me from prison a bunch of times. And before we go on, I think I heard you say you needed a couple of questions. Did you have a couple of questions, John?
Yes, there we go. So how can people get more involved, Steve, themselves?
So 2 ways. Precinct strategy is the way to get involved. And then each precinct, when you become involved, there are 400,000 slots in the party, and there's only 200,000 people involved. Now, why is it involved to get involved in each precinct? Because those are the people that get involved with the election integrity and are getting involved and joining different causes and stuff like that. And what we're going to do is on the 17th of December, we're having a massive election security call. It's going to be our Christmas show. It's going to last from 1 to 4. And we're going to have some very important people on. We're going to have Dr. Frank on, who you know. He goes around the country teaching people what to do on that. We're going to have Stefano Forte on. He's the head of the YRs in Manhattan, which is the largest young Republican organization there. And why is that important? Because, I'm 84 now. And, even though I'm working hard and we got people we need young people involved. Charlie Kirk got young people involved. So the YRs are very important.
Right.
We're going to have Steve Gruber on from Real American Voice. We've invited Steve Bannon on. He hasn't accepted yet. Sometimes he comes on, sometimes not. We're going to have Kimberly Fletcher on, the head of Moms for America. Why is that important? Because Moms for America has got 500,000 people. They get involved in election integrity and the school board. We're going to have Colonel Conrad Reynolds out of Arkansas. Arkansas is a Republican stronghold, but the governor there has kind of turned against President Trump, and there's a lot of problems in Arkansas as well as many other states. Tennessee, there's a big election coming up there, and you could see that the Republican is running. Trump won by, I think, 20 points. He's only up a couple of points because socialism, as you know, what happened in New York, is moving in very, very strong. And that's why we need our election integrity people in. And we need to have people talk about no mail-in ballots. That's going to be our major thing going on. We're also going to have Linda Sinkowitz on. She is one of my stars. FightVoterFraud.org. She works all around the country helping us. Steve Gillum out of New York. He's got a big organization. He started about 2 years ago when New York had nobody, working. And he started a whole organization where he got 40 people to run for office that never ran before. We're going to have Laura Logan on. Now, Laura doesn't really come on too many programs, but she's agreed to come on for the holiday. And she's going to be talking about all her investigative reporting. Now, we're going to have Marley Hornick on. Marley is a superstar. She's got a lot of lawsuits going on. She's going to be talking about that one. And one of the important ones that we're going to have on is Andy Thompson. Andy Thompson's going to come out with something big in Nevada. And I don't want to tell you in advance of what's going to happen, but he has a tremendous lawsuit that is going to work on showing how the machines are fraudulent. And that's a big thing, we talked about. Now, when I got on Newsmax, they threw me off because I talked about the machines and I talked about some of the other people. And they said, well, you can't do that on our program. I said, well, that's why I get on mostly podcasts, because podcasts, you can talk about whatever you want. I'm going to give you a minute to come on and ask a couple of questions and maybe show some of that stuff while I get a little water, as I get a little frog this morning. So,
Sure.
Well, you notice, Steve, we don't sit there and censor you. I believe that what you do is great work. You've been a big part of the Patriot movement for a long time. I highly applaud you for all the work you've been doing over the last several years. It's just an honor knowing you, my friend.
Well, it's a pleasure being on here, like I said. But when we get on, we want to talk also about some of the people that don't get on. So I want everybody to know about this guy, Mr. West. He has the 5-star plan in Texas, and very important to go there. The 5-star plan, replacing politicians with patriots. And why I like him is because he went over 400 miles to get 1,000 people involved. Now, to drive 400 miles to sit there with 15 people and get involved, and that's people we have around the country. We have Tina Celine in California. She doesn't really get involved as far as getting on programs. So I like to talk about her because she called me, saw me on Steve Bannon, and she said, can you help in California turn it red? I said, look, I'm good, but I'm not that good. So we spent about 6 months calling people. We got 10,000 people involved. And the problem in California, it's so big and cut into so many different areas, and everybody's doing something different. But there's so many problems in California people don't know about. Just to give an example. There's little cities there that have Chinese people where they don't even speak English, and they're kind of put together. We have 20 million since Ronald Reagan was there that have left California, and 20 million illegals have come into California. Now, a
Right.
lot of people don't talk about California because it's so crooked that it's hard to say what's going on. But we do have a lot of people working. Tina works every day. I call at least once or twice a week to see what we can do. We also interview candidates in California because we need to get candidates elected in California because, as they did this prop where they're moving it where only Democrats will get voted in. So it's going to be very difficult because there are a lot of Republicans in California, but they're all working on separate groups instead of getting together. There's, I think, 40 people running for governor in California, which is crazy because they're going to split all the vote up. And you know how it is in top two people in California. Then we have Joe Howell in an area in Alabama where it used to be where Alabama was completely Republican. But I'm going to tell you, in many of these cities, the Republicans are moving out to the suburbs and the Democrats are moving in there. And that's what causes a lot of problems. Then we have in Michigan, Joe Welch. He does a tremendous job there. Alan Myers in Rhode Island, like to talk about him because you say how to get involved. He ran for about 4 years ago for a position in the Republican Party, lost the election, and didn't stop there. He called everybody who lost. He took all the town committees in Rhode Island and turned them from non-MAGA to MAGA, about 80%. And then he started getting people involved in New England, where we have the same problems as we do in Illinois, New York. And a lot of that, where we have illegal people voting, is that in New England, a lot of people own homes in New York, and then they have homes in New Hampshire, in Massachusetts, and they vote twice. And that's some of the trouble, things we're gonna try to stop. And it's very important because, like you said, we've gone on TV, we've done a lot of work, but people have to get involved. You know how important it is because when you have only 200,000 people involved in the Republican Party as precinct committee men and committee women, and what do you do when you become a precinct committee man and woman? Well, you attend meetings, you can vote, you get candidates elected. Now, that's the most important thing that you can do. Not only the election security and going house to house. Now, one of the things we're doing in Broward County, which I want to tell everybody, which is very important, it's the first time that I think it's ever been tried. I do a lot of the fundraising in my spare time, which I don't have a lot, but we raised a lot of money. We had Byron Donalds talk down at our event here in March at the racetrack down here, and we had 450 people, and we raised about $100,000. And we're spending that money. We're sending out 400,000, and we've started sending it out emails, text, and asking everybody who had a Republican and Democrat in their household to get the Democrat to try to turn him to a Republican. The same thing for independents. Now, why is that important? Because Broward County is one of the few counties that is still blue. And even though it's turning, we're up 3% over the last couple of years and more Republicans. Every time we look at the statistics, we're getting at least 20, 30% more Republicans registering, and we're getting more people turning from independent to Republican. Now, what we found out throughout the country is that a lot of people stay independent. Now, a lot of people say, well, why do they do that, even though they may be Republicans? Well, in California, I'll tell you the exact thing that happened, and same thing in Michigan, that many of the people that go to school, the kids, get ostracized if they know they're Republicans. And that's one of the reasons why we have a lot of independents and we have a lot of problems doing that. And so you take Michigan, Wisconsin, the parents are afraid to say that. And also, that what happened to Mike Lindell, where he got knocked out of 80 box stores because the Democrats are so crooked and so far to the left that they use violence against where the Republicans try to use common sense. And that's so important today. And I want to tell you that's, so that's very important. So while we only have 10 minutes or so left, I want you to, if you can, run our little thing here, because I want to tell everybody about the flag shirt. You notice that I'm wearing my USA 250. That's our new thing, and our hat. You're the first shirt they got on. And
so I'm gonna go ahead and share that, Steve, on your flag shirt.
So we're the largest patriotic website in the world, called theflagshirt.com, www.theflagshirt.com. We are 71 years in business, and as this January, will be 72 years in business. And I started when I was 12 years old. And I actually bought this company before 9/11. And then when 9/11 happened, we had about 4 or 5 shirts. And we started building this up to become the largest patriotic website in the world. And as you see, Cyber Monday, we're giving 50% off on many items as a real push for people to get dressed up. We want a lot of people to wear flag shirts. As you see all the rallies and stuff going on, you see that people are wearing our shirts, and you see that little cowboy hat that you see right in the middle there. Well, I went on TikTok, and we had a guy sell 4,000 of those hats. So we have 5 different cowboy hats, very important.
Nice.
We have all kind of USA America shirts. And you can see on our website, Steve Stern's picks, where we give you each week, we change our picks, come up with new stuff. And we have a lot of different people wear their stuff. We are on Broadway shows. We're on movies, many people around the country, because if you scroll up, you'll see we have a shirt in the back of me, and I wear it with the Constitution. And, nobody has these type items. Socks, very important. But we run a shirt called Benji with I'm not sure if you can see it on there. Let's see if we stroll up a little bit more, if it's still on there. But everything is stars and stripes and important. And we have a Facebook site where we take pictures of people, have them send them up, and we put them up. We also do a Flag Day event where we get 5 to 10 million people on. We've done it for the last 3 years. This year, we're going to do Flag Day is going to be our 250th anniversary of the United States. And we're going to get some real big celebrities on. Every year we have 40 or 50 people talk. They tell us why they love this country, why they love the American flag. We give you the history of the American flag. If you want to see that, it's on a Stern American Rumble, which you put up before and you can put up again. We have our Flag Day event from last year and the year before. Very interesting.
Is that the shirt you're talking about right there, Steve?
No, that's not it. When we come back to our full picture, you can see it behind me. We have a lot of shirts, so we don't put it up all the time. We change, but when we come back to the full shot, we can see that. So I think that's very important. Then our big thing is, which you can put up, is our One Thrive, which was the biggest thing we had over this past weekend on Thanksgiving. It's a wall organizer, and it's sensational. And all the women put that up, and you know how the young kids use their phone. But unless you get a ding, you forget what's happening. This allows you to put up in your house and post. There it is. You can post all these different things on it. I couldn't how great this was. As you see up in the corner there, that's what you get. And there's little different things you can see. You put it up, and you can organize it in different ways. I have up there, and I use them all over my office. So this is a big thing. If you go to onethrive.com. You can pick that up, and every year, you change the calendar on the thing, so it's very important. You can see all the different items, and very, very strong for the holiday season. It's a great gift for Christmas. I mean, I had a guy text me, said, "Hey, I'm going to get this for my daughter." I sent out probably 1,000 texts. I text a lot to people, and we get people involved. So this is a great item for Christmas. I appreciate you sharing it, and. We have it up on yournews.com, which is our good friend Sam Anthony. We want everybody to go to yournews.com to get your local news, because many newspapers are no longer there. So let's see if I can move over, and maybe there it is right there. If you see right back there.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
We have the Constitution and the American flag. That's our #1 shirt. We have it both in cotton, and we have it both in polyester. And I wear them usually all the time on it, but we want to celebrate our 250th anniversary.
Yeah.
So in our time,
I wear a large, Steve.
All right. We're going to give you this hat because the 250 is the most important thing. So let's get back let's review. We only have about 5 or 6 minutes left. Let me give you a chance to ask some questions, because, I talk a lot and we don't always get a thing, but I want really everybody to go on my Stern American Rumble and see what we did in September 30th. We had 50. Yep, there it is. We had 50 people, one from every state. And if you are on this program and you want to go to your state and know somebody, give me a hail or send me an email at stern1054@gmail.com. That's
Hold on one second.
stern1054@gmail. Let's hold that up. Very important, because I'll answer your email. And if you want somebody in Hawaii or Arizona or whatever, we have one or two or three people that will tell you how to get involved. Because your first question to me was, how do you get involved? Well, you can go to precinctstrategy.com. You can go online on Google and look up your local Republican Party. Now, we also have clubs. In Broward County, we have 16 different clubs. First year this year, we're having a holiday party. And from the clubs, you get involved into the major organization, which is the Broward Republican Executive Committee. So most of your states and cities and counties have clubs. They have women's clubs, and they get involved also. So you can get involved in a women's club. You can get involved in a men's club. Every county in the United States pretty much has them. And you can get involved online. There's many, many organizations on election integrity. So we have
So
Cleveland.
what we'll go ahead and do, Steve, now the big call is going to be on the 17th, correct?
Yeah, the next call is going to be on Wednesday. And the call after that will be on the 17th. It'll be our special Christmas holiday show. Anybody that wants to think that doesn't want to see it on your program, you can go to stern1054@gmail.com. We will send you a link to both of them. The link is up now for the one for Wednesday, and then on Friday will be the new link for the 17th. Now, you can either come on live there, you can come on your show. If you do it, you can go on Stern American Rumble. It's live there. And it's very important. And all the old ones are on there. So if you want to scroll through there and see how to get involved, you can do that. It's so important for you to get involved now in this 2026 election, because we know that the Democrats are working around the clock. Most of the Republicans think that President Trump's going to do everything for them, but he can't do it by himself. And we really need, we need the people to get involved and to get involved. Poll watchers, poll workers, door to door, get candidates elected. They can't do it by yourself. Every candidate gets people to help them, and we have a lot of good candidates running. We have a good candidate running against where I live, against Debbie Wasserman Schultz, and I just saw it today. An article came out on X where they show where she did inside trading, and maybe we can knock her out, because we've had a lot of people run against her, and we haven't been able to knock her out. But hopefully that this time will happen. So we have a few minutes left. Let's get some questions.
So
Julie,
I was going to say, what we're going to go ahead and do for you as well, Steve, we'll broadcast this live on that day as well.
Terrific.
Julie, you got some questions you want to ask?
No, I am just thrilled, and I have to follow up with what Johnathon said. I take a medium, so that's a wonderful backdrop that you've got there, Steve. And thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate the information. We're going to be posting that and getting the word out there. And so are you going to be joining in Arizona? Do you think you're going to be?
No, I won't be going because of the back operation. The doctor, I have to see the doctor on the 30th. And they're not going to give me clearance to do anything until they see it, because when you get this kind of operation with stenosis, they put a little device in you, and you want to make sure that it's set right. So I'm not sure. So I'm just going to take it easy and just get on shows. But I'll probably get on some of the shows when you're out there, if you want me to come on.
Yes.
Out there, you're going to be, there'll be Bannon will be live there, and we get a lot of people that ask me to come on. So we're glad to come on there. I really feel bad about not going. I was there 2 years ago. I had a great time out there and met a lot of people, and a lot of people are always asking, when you could come on. And actually, one of the greatest podcasters that does our thing, I met him at a Charlie Kirk event here in Palm Beach. So it's very important to get out there, because I've met a lot of people at all these operations, and Charlie, the greatest people on there, they're lifelong people, because they're all patriots out there. So it's very important there. I'm going to sign off now by telling everybody, if they want to come on our thing, go to stern1054@gmail.com. I'll send it. You could call a number here, 954-318-6902. I won't answer it, but I'll return your call if you want information. It's funny. I got a call the other day from an older lady in Tennessee who said her sister-in-law lives in Arkansas, and in Arkansas, she was at the DMZ, and that's where people sign up, at legal aliens sign up. And she said, I saw a line of young men, about 150, coming in to get their license. And one of the things I want to tell you, we haven't stopped this yet. That they get their license, and then they can sign up to vote. And that's where the problem is, because they fill in their
Right.
thing and they can say, "Are you a legal citizen?" And they check it off anyway. So that's very important. So again, thank you for having me. This is the first show I've been on since I had my back operation. It's been a pleasure. I know you do a great job in Arizona. We want people to also visit my good friend, Save My Freedom. Michelle Swinick. She's in Arizona. SaveMyFreedom.us. And I'm an old school guy, so I put up all these signs all the time. And it's funny. Some of the people, laughed when I came on like 5 years ago and put them on. They always say, "Hey, follow Steve Stern. Put these freaking signs up," because people don't always get a chance to remember everything. And when they see these signs, they get a chance. So,
Hey, Steve,
yeah, go ahead.
Perfect.
If you can let me know of all your different events in advance, we'll post them out there on our news channel for you. I can't express to the viewing audience today how important it is for all of you guys to get involved.
Yep.
If we don't all work together, the Democrats are going to kick our butts. I'm just going to say it. We've got to pull together as one and be united. And, this is why the Democrats are doing so well in certain areas. They stick together, and I'm going to say it like flies on poop. And, us patriots out here have got to do the same thing. We have got to unite and quit the bickering amongst the groups. And everybody needs to come together and understand the importance of what Steve is doing, what we're doing, and get this message out there, and let's stand together and work together.
Yep.
We want to wish everybody a happy holiday, and action, action, action. Thank you very much for having on, and we will see you soon.
God bless you,
Steve. God bless you. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye.
So, okay. So we just got a lot of things that we're working on right now. And hold on one second. I think we just lost Steve out of there. There we go. Anyways, we've got a lot of things right now that we're working on. Steve does amazing work, guys. And, at 80-some years old, that man is out in the field working it and working it and working it. And, for you guys that want to be couch potatoes, get some of Steve's energy. That's all I can tell you.
Absolutely.
This man makes a difference out there. And, Julie, is there other news you'd like to share this morning?
Well, I thought I sent something over to you yesterday, but now, who knows what it might have been. It feels like things are happening so quickly. I do see there's still a huge amount of chatter about the seditious six happening. And it looks like there might be some movement forward with following up and getting them to be held accountable. At the same time, the other big one was Somalia, and how the communities there are continuing, their police have continued to say, we're Somalian, we take care of our people, and our allegiance is to Somalia first.
Right.
This is not America first. And it's very concerning. And I think that I love that the light is being shown on it, and that the light is there. And then you've got Mr. Tampon Tim, of course, not taking any responsibility whatsoever for the lack of oversight and lack of follow-up in the funds that his state received for said Somalia communities. And
Right.
it's a hot mess. It's a big hot mess, but we're learning about it. And as we learn about it, we've got to do something about it. So, I'm encouraged that at least people are starting to become more aware of it in the mainstream. And and we're doing our best to get the word out right here. And so
Absolutely.
That's
Just
about all I know right now.
sorry, we're posting on multiple networks, guys. I'm just scanning through. I've got a lot of different comments out here.
Oh,
Just give me
good.
a minute. Um, so, okay, Diana, I will go ahead and let you know. I'll send you over Steve's contact information for Steve Stern as well. She wants to be involved. Um, just give me a minute here. Oh, go ahead, Julie. I'm sorry. I'm just
Oh,
reading this.
I don't
And,
have anything at this point.
and one second here.
Well, he's
And
got I love his website with all of that patriotic gear. I am really jazzed about that. I'm going to be getting on there and getting some things ordered. Um, and it's looking very, very good that I will be in attendance out there in Phoenix for a Turning Point event. And so I'm very excited about that.
and
And yay.
yay. And Anna Townsend, good morning. I see you posted as well. Good morning to you.
Hello, Anna.
And thanks for tuning in this morning. This is one of the things we have all got to do is start organizing, coming together in our different communities around the country, um, and really focus on this election integrity as well, like Steve is saying, Steve Stern is saying. This is important. We know what's been going on in these elections for the last, God knows how long.
Mm-hmm.
And it's important to have poll watchers. That's important, guys. And you
Mm-hmm.
guys can volunteer time at that. Sign up with Steve Stern as well. There's all kinds of different ways that we can be involved.
Yeah.
And again, like we've discussed in the past, around election time, you got a lot of your senior citizens, your disabled people who are unable to get out and vote. And a lot of those guys don't believe in mail-in ballots either. They don't trust the mail-in.
Yeah.
So, you know, organize, come together, figure out a way to go out and pick these guys up,
Mm-hmm.
transport them down to the polls. I don't care if you got to push them in their wheelchair.
Right.
Get them down to vote, guys. This is vital
Absolutely.
in all these elections. Every election is of a high importance. Even your county commissioners and those kind of elections, it makes a difference for our communities as well. Not
Yes.
just for who's president or who's in Congress. Vote the right people in your commissioners, your sheriffs, everything down the board. You guys got to all come together, work together through this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Julie, I keep hearing a lot of people talking and saying, we just don't believe in voting anymore. Our votes don't matter. They're just going to put whoever they want into office. And, I personally
Well,
have
you
tired
know,
of
here's
seeing
what I'm going to say to that. Here's what I'm going to say to that. To a degree, yes. However, that's exactly what they thought was going to happen when they expected Hillary to win. And there
yeah,
were way too many votes. They miscalculated the polling numbers and all, right? They miscalculated. Their software got thrown off because of
yep,
the sheer number of people that voted for Trump. Okay. And that's why he's in and she ain't. They never expected her to lose.
yep.
If they had had their way right now, my friend, you and I people ask me how I'm doing. I say fantastic because I'm above ground and not in a FEMA camp because I
That's right.
guarantee you that's exactly where both of us would be.
Yep.
So I say, no, get your butt in the ballot box. Get out there and move because just because they continue to cheat doesn't mean that we can't overthrow their cheating margins. We've proven it before,
Right.
right? So
Well, and just like with Kamala Harris, everybody kept saying she was going to win the election as well.
yeah.
And and here Trump's in office.
Yep.
We've got to really stay focused on our mission and just get people more involved. If sit down and have talks with them, address their concerns about the election integrities and stuff, and let them know, and here's my best advice to give them: let them know that that's what the enemy wants. The enemy wants us to surrender.
That's
And
right.
by not casting your ballot, you're surrendering to
That
the
is
enemy.
right. That's right.
You're
Keep your
basically
butt
saying,
on the couch.
yep,
Yep.
you're
Keep your
basically,
butt
you're
on the
basically saying,
couch.
yep,
Yep.
you're
Don't do a
basically
damn
saying,
thing. Mm-hmm.
yep, you're basically saying, I surrender. You know what? And I'm not going to go out and vote anymore.
Yep.
And the Democrats are like, yeah, we got that one.
Exactly. Yep.
We've got to quit with that attitude, guys.
Yep. Yep.
Our,
Yep. Yep.
our votes do matter. What we do matters. And the way
Mm-hmm.
this country runs matters.
Well, and if people are really, really concerned about whether or not their vote counts, get in there and find the way and push the way and make it happen so that there's election integrity, so that there is voter ID required, so that the only people that can vote are not illegal aliens. Right. So, yeah, I mean, again, it's get up off the couch, quit with the programming. We've all been programmed. Okay. Let's just agree on that. We've all swallowed some Kool-Aid at some point in our times and believed what the stupid media told us was true. Right? No, don't believe those numbers. Get off your butt and get into the voting booth.
Oh, and you know what? Here, I want to share this morning. It's off of my Facebook, but I want to share this with you guys. Gotta love how our president puts these reporters in line.
Ooh, this will be good.
Give me a second here.
Have you spoken with the Wolf's family? Can you give us an update on
I have spoken to both families. Well, I mean, I can give you an update.
Have you spoken with the Wolf's family? Can you give us an update on
I have spoken to both families. Well, I mean, I can give you an update. They're devastated. Does that make sense to you?
Of course.
They're devastated.
Can you give us an update on Andrew Wolf's?
Well, as you know, the one is no longer with us. And Andrew is fighting for his life. And his parents are unbelievably great people, highly religious people, and they're praying, and they want everybody to pray for Andrew, and he has a chance to make it, but he is, his mother and father, they were so unbelievable, they were so positive, from West Virginia, great state. I spoke with Sarah's parents too, and the only thing I can say, they were devastated. They can't even believe it could happen.
Have you spoken with the Wolf's family? Can you give us an update on
I have.
But just the way he keeps having to tell these reporters, he's got to talk to them almost like they're stupid.
Well, because they are. They're propaganda arm. Yes. At best, I'm going to continue to say it till the day is long. They're prostitutes, people. They get paid to lie to your face. Period.
Kind of like he's saying to those reporters, how do you think these families feel? They're devastated.
Yeah.
He shouldn't have to point that out to a news agency.
Exactly.
They ought to know how they feel.
I know. It just, to me, that's just ridiculous. I also saw where he responded to the question, do you stand behind your Truth Social statement in regards to Tim Walz being retarded? And he said,
actually, I might have that.
Yes, I do. There's something wrong with that guy.
I might actually have that one. So let's see. That was
good.
actually pretty funny. Yeah.
I thought that was so good. It's got people using the R word again. Yeah.
And Julie, here, I want to recognize this as well, guys. I've been covering left and right about the amount of law enforcement officers we've been losing. And I'm going to cover this as well. So we lost this officer the other day as well. So keep his family in your thoughts and prayers. This gentleman right here.
Oh, so young.
Yep. Yeah, they're getting younger every day.
Doggone it.
So, and this happened on November 29th. Um, which is,
Oh, you got the wrong year though. It's
and
showing
excuse
2005.
me,
That's weird.
I think that's
Maybe
a typo there. That's supposed to
that's a
be,
typo. Yeah. Police
yeah,
department. Ooh.
yeah, it's
Wow.
supposed to be 2025. Sorry about
Yeah.
that. Typo there, but anyways,
Well,
lost him.
that's a police department. Wow.
And
Doggone it.
and
Oh, I
and
love
this
that
one
guy.
and this one here really cracked me up.
This guy is hilarious if you don't know him.
I'm going to play this for you guys as well.
I
Couldn't help but to die laughing after seeing this.
can't wait to
Isn't
see
a fundamental part of being an American that we are able to express our opinions to each other without fear, without this kind of horror happening? And it seems to be something we have been seeing more and more of. And it's not even left or right. It's just people being taken out because of their beliefs.
There's just no place for this kind of violence in this country. I am heartbroken over it. I cannot believe that someone would kill another person because they were speaking their beliefs.
Well, for years, you and your allies in the media have been conditioning half of the country against the president, his supporters, and figures like Charlie Kirk. Trump is Hitler, his supporters are fascists, right-wing extremists is danger to our democracy, they're Nazis, you know the words. Yet you seriously sit here acting surprised when lunatics who believe your words decide to take matters into their own hands. Your side burn and loot every time things don't go your way. Your side tried to assassinate the president multiple times. Your side burned Teslas all around the country and wanted Elon dead. Your side assassinated Charlie Kirk. Your side is currently celebrating it. So don't talk to me about, well, this is not a left and right issue. It is the left. It's only the left. It's ironically the Democratic side who engages in political violence and killings of figures they disagree with. And every time something like this happens, you come here, you tune down the rhetoric, crocodile tears, ooh, I can't believe this. Then a week later, you go right back at the dictator and fascist rhetoric again. So you don't really care. You're just pretending. And for that, fuck you, and you in a corner too.
Anyways, I had to share that. That cracked me up to no end watching that.
I love it.
Yeah. Well, that was pretty spot on.
I know, totally, because that's exactly what you want to say at the end of the day.
Well, I'll tell you what. I needed a good laugh this morning, and seeing that was worth a laugh.
Well, I'll tell you, the concept of TDS, of Trump derangement syndrome, is very, very real. And it just absolutely blows my mind. I'll go months without seeing some friends, and then we'll get together for lunch or whatever. And first of all, I have to say that I have lost a lot of friends over switching sides. I mean, a lot. But at the same time that I say that, I've gained so many friends that I value more, and there's a deeper connection and a bigger acceptance of me for seeing the red light as opposed to the blue. But it just blows my mind. I won't bring up a word about my different political views, but every single time my friend or acquaintance now will bring him up. And I'm like, what just happened? And it's like they have this gnawing in them, and then it makes them so nasty and just vile towards me and people around them. And I'm like, whoa. So I feel like there's just a part of their brain that got eaten away in some aspect from the media and the programming. And it's sad. It's just really, really sad. So,
Yep.
yeah. What's the point of
Okay,
my sharing this? Nothing outside of the fact that it's been rough.
Julie and
Yes.
I'm gonna start doing this daily. I'm gonna share it with another law enforcement officer that fell in the line of duty.
Okay.
Just
Where
want you
is
guys
it?
to recognize them, pray for their families, their loved ones out there. This is, again, we have had a record amount of law enforcement deaths this year than any other year. And this is just nonstop.
Where is this one? Is this also
And this one is,
another Phoenix?
yeah, no, this is, today we honor the life of Officer Senna Fuller, number 10534. As he was laid to rest, surrounded by family, friends, and colleagues. Officer Fuller served 7 years with the department. He'll be greatly missed. He leaves behind his 2 sons. And let me see if it tells me any more on where he's from. And no, it doesn't. Oh, Phoenix Police Department. Yep.
Says Phoenix. Yeah, it says Phoenix Police Department. Okay.
So that's another officer.
Another one in Phoenix. Wow.
So we've got, again, just amount of law enforcement officers that we keep losing. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And so we've been covering this. Most of your news media outlets don't cover it for whatever reasons, and maybe because it doesn't meet part of their agenda. But we believe these officers deserve recognition. They put their lives in harm's way for you guys and for this country. And unfortunately, we are seeing more and more fall in the line of duty.
Yes.
And kind of like when we're on the borders reporting, they weren't reporting even the border patrol deaths and different things. We were. We were getting that out there to you guys. And we're going to continue to share this kind of news coverage with you guys as well. I think people deserve to know the truth.
Sure.
And, and these families of these officers have even said it. Why is the news media not covering our son's death?
No, that's sad.
And, for them to have to even speak out and say a word is unacceptable.
Yes, agreed.
Because they're right. Every one of these news channels should have that at the top of their headline stories.
Agreed. Yep.
But sadly, we're not seeing that. So it was great having Steve Stern on the show. He's a rat.
He's very cool. Yeah, I like him.
And boy, that guy will make you laugh all day long.
Yeah, he's very spunky.
He's full of it. If I live to be 80-some years old, I hope to have Steve's energy.
I love it. Absolutely. Heck yeah.
That man goes 7 days a week.
That's awesome. Very cool.
And just never stops. So
that's great. That's great.
All right, guys. Looks like we're right at a little over an hour in our broadcast. I appreciate you guys joining in to Jonathan and Julie D in the morning. And we'll be back live tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Mountain Time, 9 Pacific. And other than that, God bless all you patriots out there. We highly appreciate you, and thanks for supporting our channel. And if it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't be here. So
that's right.
We'll see you again tomorrow.